This is the north shore of the mouth of the Río Loa. I'm here because it seems that the Spaniard was sleeping on the north side of the river near the beach or on the beach. It's difficult to get the exact square few meters because this river could have had a mouth a few meters away, because right in front of the camera here you've got a lagoon. The original river mouth could have been here. But we're only talking about 100 meters of area. But there is no church here. Drake fermented legends. There are some legends in England, but here in Chile there's a legend that he buried treasure on the northeast corner of Herradura Cove, which was obviously absurd because he'd only just been collecting treasure and he wouldn't be coming back this way again. There's a legend that there was a church built here by Francis Drake, who endowed it, and this was confirmed by a Spaniard who came here about 100 years later and said that he saw the church of Sir Francis Drake on the seaside. Well, there's no remains here, but it's a nice spot to visit, and when you trample over the area for 24 hours like I'm doing, you get a lot of extra information to film and a great opportunity to tell the story in full. If nothing has moved, the Spaniard was asleep roughly where I'm standing. Slightly higher ground, sandy, just at the edge of this river mouth. And zooming in, you can see the channel of water entering the sea. This is where Drake would have come ashore if this river mouth is the original. Good possibility that it is, but having walked around the area, I'm certainly feeling my way. Now where I'm standing, supposedly there was a church built here, but there's no remains. Sarcastic folklore, but as I said, one Spaniard 100 years later said he saw the church that Drake endowed. It might have been just a shrine. It could have been made of pebbles piled on top of each other or adobe bricks, so nothing would remain. But in Drake's wake has to investigate every story. This sarcastic, humorous touch to the scenario of Drake's visit, of having a chapel here in his memory, as though Spain would actually want that, is hard to believe. But what is believable is the Spaniard was asleep here, and when he woke up, that's when his nightmares began. This video clip typically shows the landing conditions here at the mouth of the Río Loa, the River of Praise in Spanish. I've been out here in a boat, but as you can see, with waves like that, boatmen didn't want to take risks with all their equipment on board to time landing on this beach. So I took the pictures, the videos, from about 40 meters away. And you can imagine Francis Drake and his men landing here, returning with buckets of water and a train of 8 llamas, unloading 13 bars of refined silver, each weighing 50 pounds, into the boat and rowing more richly laden than they arrived, taking the booty out to the Golden Hind. And if this is the same stream entering the sea in the same position as when Drake was here, the sleeping Spaniard was on the north side, the other side of the stream from the camera, asleep, maybe on that sandy area just there. It's a wonderful place to visit. I've been to about 250 Drake places around the world, and Chile has some of the most intimate and interesting to visit. So if you're a young drakeologist, want to follow my example of being the only person in the world to go draking all over the world to visit the drake sites, these pictures and these videos that I've been making since 1980 constitute a unique collection, and I hope they'll inspire you to also tread in Drake's wake. I keep saying this is the last video, but when you keep walking around you get a refinement of ideas. Again, if nothing's changed on this beach, Drake would have landed about 60 meters beyond the stream on the south side, because there's a pebbly beach instead of the boat being banged into boulders and pebbles. So that's a pretty good landing place just south of the stream. And of course it's a pretty good anchorage because the south side of the valley projects into the sea and protects the anchorage from the ever-present south wind. If nothing had changed since Drake landed here, this would be the best place to land. It's the beach. The only beach with sand and an absence of stones, boulders, which you wouldn't want to bash into in a wooden boat. And it's the north side of the river. Today it's a bit of a delta. I say a bit because there's only one channel to the sea, but there's a triangular lagoon. And there might have been different breaches over the years to form small mouths. But this is definitely where the Spaniard was sleeping, because this is the lowest part of the valley, and it's where all the massive boulders have been washed down from terrific floods over the centuries. They've been pounded down through the valleys through severe flooding. Not that it rains here, but when it rains up in the Andes in Bolivia in winter, the water's going to end up here in large amounts. So the mouth of the river has been totally covered with these videos. The landing could have been here. It's on the north side, and if the church legend has some truth in it, then a shrine at least was built where Drake robbed that Spaniard who awoke to his worst nightmare, having to report his losses. And that's why we would know exactly where he was sleeping. So between here and the river, Drake would have ascended the ground and seen him asleep and seen the llamas and been surprised. And I expect here he'd have stepped ashore and got back into his boat to embark upon his voyage after bringing the llama train across the rocks to this beach. Fieldwork, walking around time after time, looking at the geography, because this is the only collection of boulders on the whole shoreline here. So this is the original site of the mouth of the river, because these boulders have been driven down the mountainside over the centuries to the lowest place during severe flooding. So you'll see there is a marriage between geography and history. And as a teacher, I always teach cross-curricular relevance. And this is one case in point, where the geography, once again, helps pinpoint the historical story. In Drake's wake, signing off from Río Loa, Tarapacá, Chile, April 2016. A project which I started in 1980.